Okay, so it's Monday morning. It's like 8 o'clock. And I did some much needed maintenance on mowers yesterday. The Tiger Cat was dirty as hell, and the blades were very, very dull. Very dull. You guys know me, like every 3 days I sharpen my blades, or I have at least 2 sets of blades for every mower I own. I pretty much have a set of high lift blades and a set of mulching blades for each mower, depending on what I'm doing. I usually run the mulching blades first month or so of the year, and then I run them in the fall, and then high lift usually the rest of the season. But I didn't sharpen them at all last week. I was running ragged all week. I can't say I didn't have time. I just had so much going on. I was so tired. By the end of every day, I just never did it. And I'm so impressed. So it still cut like a champ. And toward like Thursday and Friday, I kept thinking to myself, I don't know how in the hell this mower is still cutting grass and cutting it well and just leaving a great looking cut. I know they got to be dull. And I finally had a chance to do maintenance yesterday. A buddy of mine, the hitch was rotting off his truck. He's one of the guys I go camping with all the time, and he has a travel trailer he pulls, so he ordered a new one and he brought it over, and we took the hitch off and we put the new hitch on. And then I just dedicated the whole day to mower maintenance. I pressure washed them all. I did switch from using that Zep degreaser I was using to using Purple Power. I got that idea from Johnny from Blades of Grass. It works just as good, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper. So, I mean, I think at Walmart it was like $5 for a 1 gallon jug of Purple Power, where it's like, I think $11 or $12 for a gallon jug of that Zep industrial purple degreaser I was using at Home Depot. So I figured I'd try out the Purple Power, and I did. So you guys know how I do it. I put it in a 1 gallon pump sprayer for like spraying weed killer, and I spray the mowers. That way I get an even coat over everything, and I mist it all. Let it sit on there for 5 minutes or so, and then I pressure washed it off. But I don't use the real abrasive tips. I use the soft, it's a yellow tip. It's pretty much the same for every pressure washer, what the yellow tip is and what it does. So that's what I used, and it worked fantastic. It worked just as good as the other stuff, only a hell of a lot cheaper. And from what I'm told, it doesn't cause as much damage, whereas like the Zep stuff will cause your paint to fade and stuff like that. I know if you use on like stainless or something, if you happen to go across the stainless bolt, or stainless like the diamond plate on the front of my trailer I did on, not even thinking, it like oxidized the whole thing. That Zep. So I don't know. So anyway, I think I'm gonna stick with the Purple Power because it works just as good, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper. So I did all that. I told you guys in the last video I had seal leaking on the walker. It's just a paper thin seal. If you watch Brian's video from Top Notch, he's got an older video up about replacing a gearbox, and in that video you'll see that Jesse made his own gasket out of paper, kind of cut it out. Well, that's the paper seal. And I have 4 of those seals. I got them from the dealer where I got the walker from like a week and a half ago, and I just never had time to do it. So I figured, well, I was dedicating the day to mower maintenance, sharpening blades, changing oil if it needed done, blowing out air filters, all that fancy stuff, just getting them prepped for this week and cleaned up so they looked presentable. I figured I would do that seal that I've been meaning to do. Well, you got to pull the gearbox off the shaft that goes from the center gearbox over to that right hand one, because that's the one that was leaking. And I didn't do them all. I figured they're not leaking, I'm not messing with them till they are. But I pulled the whole unit off there, and I unbolted that gearbox and pulled it off, and all the gears fell right out of the box. Fell right out. The bearing that sits right on the edge, if you guys know what I'm talking about, that fell out, and all the gears and the shaft followed it. All over the fucking ground. All over the ground. And I'm like, I don't believe that's supposed to happen. I've rebuilt a number of rear ends in trucks, cars. Gears just don't fall out. They sure as hell shouldn't anyway. So I'm like, great. I've never taken one of these apart before. I have no idea how these gears go together in there. So I downloaded a diagram. I have the manual for the Walker decks for no matter what size, the 36, the 42, the 48, the 52. I have a manual that covers them all. And it gives you, it's the parts layout, the parts diagram. So if you have to order parts for your deck, and it gives the layout of it, like the whole image. So I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at mine, and I'm thinking, I know what the problem is. There's supposed to be 2 C-clips in there that clip on. Just like the rear end of like a GMC, a Chevy, there's C-clips in there that hold the gears in place, so where the outer gear will roll on the pinion gear, so to speak. If you guys, I don't know, some of you guys might know what I'm talking about, but I'm thinking if them clips were in there, that'd never happen. So I got everything all cleaned up, found all the pieces, didn't find any C-clips. I looked everywhere. I mean, it only fell from like 7-8 inches in the air down to the ground where I was kneeled down doing this thing, so they couldn't have gone that far. I looked everywhere. I was like, I know I'm looking for these C-clips, and I know I'm not going to find them, because if they were in there, none of this stuff would have fallen out. So I have a whole case of all different size C-clips. So I messed around for a while trying to find the right ones that would fit, and I did. So once I looked at the parts diagram to see the order of how everything goes in there, there's not that much in there. It's very simple if you know what you're looking at. So I had a good idea how it went back together. I matched it up to the diagram, and I was pretty much right. It did go together the way I thought. So I put it all back together, and I put the correct C-clips in there so it'll hold the gears together the right way. And then I put the paper seal in there that goes on there. And I took some RTV gasket, and I friggin' got a bunch of my finger squeezed out of the tube. I smeared it on there. I placed the gasket on there, made sure it was right, left it for a couple minutes, and then I put it back together, ran the bolts back in there the way they should be, and I got everything back together. I filled it back up. I use 80-90 Lucas gear oil in there, and I filled it back up to where it should be, and then I degreased the whole deck because it was fluid gear oil everywhere, and with that purple power it worked fantastic. And I started up, engaged the blades, smooth, quiet, sounds so much better than it ever has from the day I got it. So somebody has had them gearboxes apart before and just didn't put them back together the right way. I don't know if they dropped the clips out, or if they took the clips out and didn't put them back in, forgot to put them back in when they put it back together, or lost them and figured out, screw it, I'll put it back in. I don't know. But either way, that gearbox has been apart before. Maybe the same case on the other two. I don't know. I didn't take them apart. They're not leaking. I'm not messing with it. So once they start leaking, I already have the gaskets, and I'll deal with it then. But for right now, it's not leaking, and it sounds completely smooth, like I said, when the blades are going. The only thing is, when I was putting it back together, I had to look at the bottom where you bolt the blades on. They have the little slats, so you get the blade on the right way, because they're different. One's perpendicular, one's horizontal, or one's vertical, one's horizontal, and because they're timed, you have to make sure they're right. So I put it together, and they were both the same, and you can't turn one without turning the other now, because it's all connected. So I had to pull it back off real quick, and then turn it so that they were different ways, and then bolt it back together. And I'm like, damn it, now it's going to leak, because that Permatex is probably already starting to set up. Well, it didn't, and I was lucky. I was good to go. It didn't leak at all. So everything seemed good. I, rode it around for a little bit, and everything seemed good. And I do not have it today because I don't need that mower. on Mondays, and it's just easier to use the Tiger Cat. And there's a few yards I definitely need the 36 stander on, so I have that as well. But the clutch is definitely supposed to be in today. It wasn't supposed to be due until tomorrow. The new one for the Great Dane. But all the updates on eBay are telling me it's going to be here today. So that'll be awesome. I can't wait to get that put in today when I get done mowing for the day, and hopefully everything's good to go with that. I can't wait to ride that thing, and especially now that I watched Mike's video, he uploaded a ride in the Great Dane. It's got me wanting to ride mine even more. So, but that's where I'm sitting at as of Monday morning, and we will go from here. I don't really know what I'll record today, but that is the update on everything. And I'm about to pull up to my first lawn. So I hope everybody had a good weekend and is having a good Monday so far. Or by the time you see this, won't be till afternoon, but let's see what today has to hold. Okay, so I lied. I didn't record anything today, but the new clutch is here. I'll show you the problem. There, if you can see that, is the bearings in the old one. They're shot. Completely destroyed. Now, this is a bracket that mounts up underneath, and the clutch has tabs, and they sit around those, and this keeps the clutch from moving. Okay, a lot of clutches, I'll show you what I mean. That's actually the bottom half of the clutch, and that sits in there like that. Keeps the clutch from moving. Okay, now the ones that they sent me, the wrong one, looks like this. I don't know if you can tell, but there's holes there, but those don't make a difference because they're not going to sit in there anyway, because they'll end up hitting, and the clutch sits at an angle, even if we're letting them holes and it don't go all the way in them. So that's no good. That one does not work. So I ordered a new one from another guy, because the guy that I ordered that from is giving me a big runaround on the return. So now I don't have time to wait. Here's a new one. Came in today. Let's see if this is the right one. If it's the wrong one again, you might hear some F-bombs. Wow, it's been a long time since I've had a clutch come with instructions. They usually don't. Okay, moment of truth. We're good. It looks the same as the other one as far as the top part, but it has the 2 notches that I need. And this goes on just like that. That won't go on there. It comes sitting in there. Doesn't need to go on there. It'll actually go in to the bottom like that, and then the bolt goes through. Spacer. Sometimes you need them, sometimes you don't. The one I took off did not have a spacer. So, and the plug is right. That's a good thing. What time to jack this thing up and put the clutch in? We'll see what happens. Okay, so the new clutch is in. It is engaging just as it should. It's flying. I heard some ticking noise coming from that side. Every couple seconds it'd be like tick, 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 like metal was scraping. I checked the pulleys to make sure they were all right, and they are. I looked under the deck and I saw a clean piece of steel right around the back. And there is a, I don't know if I'll be able to show you this, but right down there it was pushed in. It still is a little bit. So I beat it back out with a sledgehammer from the inside, and the ticking went away. Another problem, remember I told you guys this hydro pump was all covered in fluid, and I noticed this hose turned on here very easily. Well, I put a new clamp on and I thought that was it. Well, when I was just riding around, I was getting fluid all over here, and I was about to lose my damn mind if I got to replace this hydro pump. They're $450 a shot. So I started looking around and checking things, and I don't know, let me see if I can get you guys in here to see this. Can you see that plug right there? This one right here? Well, I just started like on the bolts all over. That one there was loose. I turned that thing, it's a 5/8 head. I turned it probably 7-8 times before it tightened up. So I'm guessing that's where the fluid was. I just whipped it all around again, and I have no new fluid. There's a little bit of residual down there. I wiped it out as best I could, but I just drove it all around again, and there's nothing new coming out. So I'm hoping that was the problem. I just cut my front yard with it. It looks alright. I cut it on the 3.5 setting, looks pretty good. And I don't know. I am going to, it has high lift blades on it right now. These here, I don't know if you guys can see this blade. This blade here is called the Scag Eliminator blade. They're made by Scag. It's a mulching blade. They cut very well, but they are very expensive. I think I spent $90 on the set. It actually has, yeah, see right there. There's the part number. If I can get it better for you guys here without a shadow. It is Scag 483317, and it has the MB01E. I think that's means it's the Marbane blades. They stay sharp a long time. I bought these last year when I bought the Tiger Cat, and I ran these doing fall cleanups, and they mulched leaves like there was no tomorrow. So I think I'm going to try running these on the Great Dane because they're exactly the same. My Tiger Cat's a 52. They are the same. They are 18 inches long, and it has a 5/8 center hole, which is exactly the same as my Tiger Cat. So I think I'm not sure. I have a couple lawns tomorrow, a couple bigger lawns that grow like crazy, and I'm always double cutting them. So I might just switch these up now and then run these tomorrow and see what I think, and go from there. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think I might do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put these on, and I'm going to run these tomorrow on here, and we're going to see how well it cuts with those. And what I will do is I'll get a lot of filming in tomorrow. It's I was flipping all around out there. It's really awkward being back on this standard. This is the ground cable from the battery that goes right to the motor. I'm going to zip tie that up. I don't like that hanging down like that. I remembered real quick, one thing I did not like about these Great Danes is the platform is way up under here, and it's real short. It doesn't come out that far, so it's awkward standing on it. I may get creative and weld another plate straight across back here to make it come out further, so that I have more room to stand. I like the platform setup that's on Mike's from Something to Look At better than this one. His is a Super Surfer 1, I believe. This is a 2. So, yeah, I think I might improvise that. We'll see what happens. But more to come tomorrow. So that's it with this so far. Sorry I didn't get any footage today, but every video I put up pretty much has footage, so I think you guys will be alright for right now. But tomorrow there will be footage of this mower, so stay tuned. Okay, so I threw those eliminator blades on real quick, and I heard tink, 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 tink. They were just the very tips of them on the ends. Like, if you can see, like right there, just the very tip, right there on the side, they were smacking together. I've had that happen I've ordered brand new blades before for a specific mower, and they do that. Happens all the time. So what I did is I just got out the angle grinder, and I just lightly went across the ends, both ends of all 3 blades, and now it's smooth as can be. Perfectly fine. So, all right, again, tomorrow she gets her true test.